I can't quite remember, but as you can see, this is Deadly Vacation. It is its original name, but it has been renamed as Hitman Holiday. So this is just the top, right? I won't be doing an unboxing video, which is to say that there won't be any parts of this video that's going to be describing about what contents, what the stuff you're going to get. But I will be sharing, again, as I mentioned, a tutorial on how to play the game as well as how to set up the game. So this video is going to split up into two. Right, so what is this game about? Just a brief rundown. This game is essentially a board game where you actually take on the role of an assassin together with other players who are also various kinds of assassins, which you can see like these guys over here. There's like a total of 6, but there's actually a total of 10 characters, and you can pick from those 10 characters to become and they will become your personas, and your purpose is to try to assassinate or kill the target that you've been given, which is one of the other players, aka another assassin. The premise of the game is pretty much simple enough. Yeah, you know, I'm enough blabbering. Let's move on to the setting up. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and this particular section of the video is to show you the setup of the board game before it starts. Now, first and foremost, this game itself comes with a few modes. Now, if you recall, I mentioned that there are a total of 10 characters that you can pick from. This also translates to that this game actually supports between 2 to 10 players. However, this particular mode, this particular game mode, which is also considered as the main mode of this board game, we will be requiring at least 5 players in order to play it. So in other words, this tutorial is actually meant for 5 players. There are a few more, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 more modes that's actually meant for players. That's actually 4 players or less, but I will not be talking about those today. So first up, you need to decide which character that you're gonna be. In this example, I'm gonna pick Marianne. I hope I got the name right. As you notice, that's her name, kind of like some blood drops over here. That's kind of like her life. You got 3 dials over here, as well as some empty slots over here. There's gonna be there's also traits, power, and variant power. Variant power does not work for this particular mode, so you can just pretty much ignore that. So when you pick your character, you don't just take the card itself. There are a few things you need to take. For example, actually not example, you definitely need to take is one, you need to take a figurine, and as well as some tokens. Now you're gonna need to look for tokens with her face on it. I hope you can see it. Yeah, I think the camera focus is just fine. Now, essentially, you're gonna need to look for tokens like this, and these tokens translate to the various numbers. Let me just lay them out like so. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, a briefcase-looking icon as well as a question mark. Okay, and you will need to take 4 copies of one. In other words, they're gonna look, all of them will have her face on it, right? 4 copies of 1, 2, 3, and 4, each of them 4. You're gonna have 5 briefcases, again, with her face on it, as well as 4 question marks, or otherwise known as the hint tokens, again, with her face on it. And then you just kind of like put them aside, but still within your vicinity. Next, you're gonna need to turn your dials. The toilet dial, or as you can see, the bowel movement dial, the hunger dial, as well as the rest dial or sleeping dial. Put them all to 0. All characters start the game at 0. All right. Let's see, what else am I missing? That's pretty much it. This is all the things you need to prepare. Oh wait, there is still some more stuff. I almost forgot. Talk about being unprepared. You're gonna need to prepare this stack of item cards. These are essentially cards that you can actually play during your turn, and everyone's gonna be given a certain number depending on the number of players there is. In this case, for this particular mode, everyone is given 3 cards of it. It's shuffled, of course, and it is a combination of a play and the plant. I'm not sure if you can see over here, but essentially the first letter that you actually see in the card itself will say either play or plant. At this point in time, don't worry about what it is. You just need to actually draw 3 cards. Everyone draws 3 cards, and then you just put this deck on the side. So let me just take 3 cards, put this right over here, put this at the side. Let me just check real quick what I have. So I have 3 plant cards. Let me just put this right here. All right. Now, your host may actually give you this. Let me just grab that real quick. I prepare. There we go. These aid cards. Okay, there's this particular card here which is supposed to tell you what you can do during a turn, because every time when it's your turn you have 4 AP or action points for short, and this literally tells you like whatever actions cost how much and yada yada yada. These are the traits, very useful. Later on I will explain to you why, as well as the point card, which helps you to calculate the points, based on what actions that you have done, you'll be awarded points. And so it actually comes with point tokens, like so. So you got point 1, you got -1. You can turn them around, and then you got 2 points. All right. So of course the end of the game requires you to get the most points among the other players. And just put these aside. Right. You're also gonna need to get yourself a blood token right here, and then you're supposed to put it at the top leftmost corner of your life gauge, because the various attributes is different for each character. So for Marianne, I hope I got that right. She can take 3 hits before she die, which is represented by the skull icon, whereas Ivana can only take 2 hits before she dies. And if you notice, certain traits, certain physical traits is also different as well. Like she's practically similar to Marianne in terms of the bowel movement as well as rest or sleep, but in terms of hunger, clearly Marianne can handle just a bit more than she does. So each character has some slight difference. There's also the traits as well that you will need to take note of, which I will explain to you what later, because this kind of trait is what actually could give you away or give you hints as to who your target is. Now, but that's not all. There is still a bit more to go in the setup. Okay, remember I told you about your figurine. Now you're gonna need to put your figurine at the starting locations. Notice that the board itself is literally the pictorial representation of a beach resort where so much death is gonna happen. Now everyone, okay, all the players will need to look for circles with green borders around them. These are essentially starting points where you're supposed to put your characters on it. Now each circle will have a unique name. This name corresponds to one of the 10 characters. All 10 characters have their own specific spot. In the case of Marianne, her spot is right over here. So you actually put her character right here. In the case of, let's say, let's say Soriel, then she would actually be right here. There you go. Like so. All right. So everyone's gonna need to do this and do with that. And let's see. There is again a couple more to go. Notice that I actually mentioned that there is this briefcase token over here. You will also need to put it onto the board as well. There is a total of 5 briefcase tokens for each player, and you need to place them in what is considered as cash spots, if that's the actual naming for it. And looking at the legend, it did say it's cash, so I'm good right over there. So cash locations are actually indicated by these blue symbols with the black briefcases on it. Now it could very well be very hard to see right now, but the designer is aware of the some slight color and design choices, and he did promise that that certain changes will be made to actually make the icons look a lot more obvious. So in other words, anyways, take each of these briefcase tokens and place them in all of the 5 cache locations. Okay, there's 5 locations. Naturally, that means that all of the 5 tokens are supposed to be placed in all those 5 locations. And let's see, then there is one last step, very important. It's your target cards. Okay, now to help you differentiate them, on the back it would say target card. If it doesn't have it, like what is displayed over here, then it's an item card or an action card, whichever they want to call it. So what you need to do for this last action, or maybe the second last one, there is one more thing I forgot to mention. Bear with me. So there are actually 2 copies of the characters that is involved in this game. In this particular example, I'm taking all 5 human characters and putting them into 2 separate stacks. Okay, so there's only 1 copy of it in 1 stack, and there's another 1 copy of it in 1 stack, and you're supposed to like shuffle it, like kind of like this, and you're supposed to distribute out to the players. And there's a certain rule to that as well. Let me just put the second stack away. The second stack is very important. Now, you're not supposed to kill yourself. That's pretty much obvious from the get-go. So in other words, you're trying to actually take the target card that is not you. So in this case, when I pick this card, thank goodness it's not me, it's actually Madame Casa. And I actually look at it and I put it face down. No one is supposed to know that me, Marionette, the beautiful female, great and intelligent surfer lady with a harpoon in one hand, is not supposed to kill the mysterious Madame Casa. Yeah, so you actually put that aside. But what if you were actually given your own card? Now let me just, alright, what if I was given my own card? Now there are 2 things you need to take note of. First, are you within the last 3 players that has been given on the card? In other words, are you the last 3 players that receives the target card? If not, you just simply return the card back to the person who distributed you the target card, shuffle it up again, and take the next target card. If it's not you, good, move along. If it's you again, do the same thing. Put your card back again and shuffle it again. The person the person before you whom has already received their target card, just kind of hold on to their own target card. It doesn't get shuffled back. However, if you are actually the last, one of the last 3 characters that actually get, last 3 players that get their target card. So let's say like I'm the 3rd player to actually receive my card, right? Or rather, the last 3rd player that receives my target card, and somehow for some reason, well, never tried this. And for some reason, I actually got my card. Everyone has to return their target cards back to the stack again, shuffle again, and do the whole process one more time. I know this may sound a bit wonky and stuff, but this is meant to make it so that not too much hints is actually given out at the initial start of the game. So my guess is that this is probably just to stabilize it and make it as fair as possible to everyone, because if someone actually gets their card and shuffle back, the information is free. Everyone knows about it, all right? But if you're the last 3 players getting the same card and you're just shuffling it back in, this limits your choices. This limits who the target pretty much would be able to guess much more easily who might be killing him. You might not know what I'm talking about, I might not know what I'm talking about, but you pretty much know the gist about what is this supposed to do. So once this step is done, once the first initial step of actually distributing the target cards to the player is complete, right? Remember I mentioned that there is another stack of target cards as well. You also shuffle that and then you put that aside, right? Kind of like you can actually like put it beside the item deck card. Just pray you don't accidentally take it. So I'm just gonna put that aside, like so. Now is that all? Nope, there is just one more thing. Like, right, here we go. One more thing. It's this guy. This is the bulletin board. It is essential. Think of it as kind of like your immobile corkboard that, for some reason, the assassins would actually be very generous to put down hint tokens, aka the question mark, onto them in pertaining to the traits of your target. Now, for example, let's say, for example, I am supposed to aim for Desiree, right? And Desiree's trait is female, great, happy, and weak. So in other words, there are certain phases that actually goes around this, but just understand that once it actually reaches to the next round, you and as well as everyone else needs to put down a hint token pertaining to one of the physical traits of your target. Okay, so I can say that my target, let's see, well, she's clearly a female because right here, it says right here, then I can just put it here, female, with your face facing upwards, right? That's the example. So of course I will be explaining to you how this step goes about again in the tutorial session, but you just need to know that the functionality of the bulletin board is as such, and you just pretty much like put it aside as well where everyone can see. I'm gonna put it right here. Is it all of you? It is all of you. I'm just gonna put it on the side. Everyone can see the information. And this is pretty much the setup that should get you and everyone ready to go. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Conquer Number 1, aka Morris. Welcome back again. This is the second part of the video, the tutorial for Hitman Holiday. And you're gonna notice one slight difference in this setup. I'm gonna give you a moment to see if you can spot it. I'm just gonna lean back on my IKEA chair. Let's see if we can spot it. And time's up. Did you see it? Do you see it? If you do not, here's the hint. It's this guy. If you get it right, like the video, I suppose. Just kidding. Anyway, so this guy, I forgot to mention him in the setup process, but fortunately it's a very simple thing to rectify. Now this guy is actually the security guard, and there's actually two. Let me just try to get the guy out right here. There's supposed to be two of them where you're actually supposed to place on the board. I'm just gonna put one for, you know, simplicity's sake. But naturally in the actual game itself, you're supposed to put both the security guards on the board itself. Now they are actually supposed to be placed in the circle locations with the blue borders, like so. If you do not know where you're supposed to place them, or where you're supposed to be, or what these circles are supposed to represent, fortunately at the bottom right corner of the board, let me just try to see if I can push this up for you to see. Can you see it? Well, it's barely right over there. I got obstructions right here, so it kind of stops it. But essentially, those are your legend regarding the definition of the circles, as well as you have the legend at the top right corner of the meaning of these icons, these colorful iconic icons. So, of course, it's the tutorial. Welcome to a session of a beautiful stay at this resort where for some reason you're supposed to kill other people who is trying to kill you, who makes their living by killing people, and this vacation resort sees no problem in that. Maybe it's a resort for assassins, who knows. So of course, naturally, you have to decide who's going to start first, and it actually goes in a counterclockwise or clockwise direction. Entirely up to you, no big deal, right? So on your turn, you are going to need, oh dear, I think there was supposed to be something like a token to determine the turn of the game. I'm not sure what the token is, but actually you can literally just take anything and it's just fine for now. I may be wrong. But anyways, let's just right here, right? I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay, I'm just randomly grabbing one right now. Whatever the token is not important. But it is important to tell you which turn it actually starts. So the first player will need to move this token up. Whenever it is the first player's turn, right? He or she has the responsibility of moving this token up a spot. So at the start of the game, right, you actually put it right here. So let's say I'm the first player. As soon as the game starts, it's my turn. I'm supposed to do something. The first thing I do, I move this up 1. That's it. So I'm gonna put that right beside on the screen, right out of view. Now, there are a few things that you need to know. Okay, you're gonna need to kill people and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to like play a bit, give you a bit of a feel as to what's going on. So let's see, is there anyone? I'm gonna put one character down just to try to make it a bit more easier to understand. I'm gonna need to find this character called, let's see what it's called, Petrilli. Petrilli is a painter. I'm gonna let you see how he looks like on the card right here, right? The painter, I'm not sure if you can call him successful, but at least he's fit, right? The ladies would probably dig him. I'm sad. Anyway, and this is his figurine. So I'm gonna put him right here, like so. So I'm just gonna assume that Petrilli is also in the game as well. Okay, so my turn. What am I supposed to do? Whenever it's your turn, you will have 4 action points at the start of the game itself. 4 action points, 4 APs. And to help you along, you will you can actually refer to this this card, this aid card, to tell you how much each specific action costs. In this case, so it's gonna stay here. Moving requires 1 action point. Triggering a location, or rather trigger location, is 1 action point, which I will explain what it is later. Play hidden action, which is 0 action point. That means you can do as many as you wish. If your hand allowed it, which is the number of cards allows it. You can disable, which requires 2 action points, as well as observe, which is 1 action point. I'm going to explain each one of them step by step. All right, so moving, what more can be explained? Moving, move, right? So but because you got 4 action points, you can only move 4 spots. So move 1 2 3 4, that's it. You can't move a 5th or 6th unless you play cards to actually help you out, which I'll show that later. Now, but there's so many circles. Where are you supposed to go? If you notice, these circles itself, these black circles and white circles, are connected by these black lines. Okay, these black lines are essentially your direct routes. Okay, so as long as there's a black line to it, you can move to them. But here's the thing. There are also, if you notice, there are also various dotted lines and dashed lines of various colors. Okay, some of them are what you use for your trigger action, which again I will explain later, and some of them are actually shortcuts. Aha, shortcuts, eh? So these shortcuts, from what I can see right here, are generally represented by dashed lines, not dots, dashed lines. So this green line is a dashed line, that's a shortcut. This blue line is a dashed line, that's a shortcut. There's a pink line over here, that's a shortcut. Fair enough? Very good. So, for example, I can actually be over here, this white spot over here, and I can go over to this spot, and it is considered as 1 action point. This is considered as 1 move. All right, it's not like pop, 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 pop. No, 1 move. You just follow the green dashed line. However, please do take note that there's actually an arrow to it. This means it's actually a one-way ticket. If you're gonna get from here, you're not gonna go back like so. Okay, you're gonna find some other way to actually get back to that spot. In this case, it's gonna be like a bup 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 bup. All right, or you can actually find yourself over here and take the shortcut one step all the way here, and then bup bup, which would take let me count 1, 2, 3. That's three movements, 3 action points, leaving you with 1 more action point for you to decide what to do. So that is movement. Whew, that's exhausting. All right, so next I'm gonna talk to you about, let's see. There are a few things I'm gonna need to explain. But you know what, I'm gonna go through with these steps first. Okay, next is trigger location. It says over here, execute a direct or ranged kill. Now this is gonna be one of the few ways that you can use to assassinate your target or murder them in broad daylight, which technically you're not supposed to, unless for some reason you have this powerful magic that actually turns out the sun, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's totally fine, but it has to do with a card, which I'll explain later. So, trigger locations. What are trigger locations? Trigger locations are essentially icons, yellow icons and red icons that shows you the method of killing a person. Now that sounds weird, right? But it's not. In fact, it's actually quite amazing. They are designated by these, again, yellow and red icons, which at the top right corner actually tells you what the meaning of those icons is. But to make it simpler, you just need to understand that if it's yellow, irregardless of what is actually inside of it, it means that you can kill someone who is actually in close proximity with you, or in other words, in the same circle as you are. So in other words, if Petrilli is in the same spot as me, Mariani, I can kill him, like so. But it's not as simple as it sounds. Rule number 1, or there are several rules, but rule number 1, you are not supposed to kill anyone else other than your target. In fact, you're not even supposed to. In fact, you're not even allowed. Okay, so in other words, unless Petrilli is your target, or rather, if Petrilli is my target, I cannot kill anyone else. There is an exception to that rule, but I'll get back to that later. Okay. Rule number 2. Notice that there are circles over here. Oh, well, they are all circles, duh. But the circles are either white or black. Okay. Rule number 2. You're not supposed to kill someone in broad daylight. They are represented by the white circles. Think of them as like public locations where literally the public can see your every move. Okay, everyone can see you. You can't possibly stab someone right in front of a couple who's eating ice cream together, right? The blood's gonna get into the ice cream sundae and they're gonna get really upset. They're gonna make you pay for that shit. Weird, right? However, you can actually kill someone in the black zones. Okay, that is considered like you're undercover, you're under shade, no one's actually looking into it, you're in like some bushes or something. You can kill people in those locations just fine. So like for example, in the location of Marionette, anyone goes over there, she can actually drown them in the ocean. That's right, she drowns them in the ocean. I suppose that's rule number 2. But if you notice, there are certain ideal locations, the black circles, that does not have such an option, which is why you will need to use item cards to actually help you do that grim deed, like knives or a piano wire to actually strangle your target. Let's see if I can actually find one right here. Weapon. Yeah, there we go. We got a knife right here. See that? That's a knife. It says play. Right. Let me just put that right back. Okie dokie. But that's not all. Remember I told you that there are actually two methods of killing. The yellow is supposed to be close proximity. Well, if you have guessed that the red is actually like a range attack, then you are right, in the manner of speaking. Now, essentially, how the red works is very interesting. You actually look at the dotted red lines that it actually links to, like so, like these, or these, or these, and these, and these, and these, and these. All right, and how they work is essentially you look at the icon, and any red circles that is connected with the dotted line are potential areas that you can kill people with it. Cool, huh? So in other words, if I'm actually over here and my target is actually over here, I could essentially just long range kill him, just like that. I don't even need to be near him. That's how it works. But the problem is that it's because, now in this particular case, it's actually exposed. This is bad for me. So I would need to like make it a safe location for me to kill. I would have to darken the sky by some occult power, right? So that is essentially how it is. Now we actually move on to the third step, which, or rather the third thing you can do, which is known as play hidden action. You can plant or use a card from your hand. It is a free action because it's 0 AP. In other words, at the remember that at the start of the game that you got actually 3 cards. You can literally use all 3 cards just like that in the first turn. All right, if of course you can use it. Now in this case, I actually drew. I was actually given 3 plant cards. Okay, and there's also another kind of card called play, which I'll explain later. But plant cards is pretty cool, because it actually works in tandem with your numbered tokens, as well as where you are. Okay, so let me explain. Essentially, I can literally just say, hey, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna plant a card, I'm gonna plant something down. You don't tell the other players what you're gonna plant, you just say you're gonna do it, and then you put the card face down in any one of the 4 slots you have on your character card. So in this case, I'm gonna put it on 1. And then I'm gonna take one of my 4 1 tokens, all right, and I'm gonna put it at where I am. So, but of course, and you need to keep your facing upwards, face upwards. Your number is supposed to face downwards, hidden, okay, and you're supposed to put it like so. This is the basic setup on how you're gonna plant a card. But I can do more. I can say, you know what, I'm gonna plant 2 more cards. I'm gonna put it 1 over here. That means I'm gonna put a 2 over here, and I'm gonna put 1 more. I'm gonna put a 3. Oh, this is a different person. But let's just pretend that this is her. All right. So I planted 3 cards on the same turn. Now remember, because it's actually 0 action point for planting cards, for playing cards, I can do as many as I want. But this also means that my hand is exhausted. I have no more cards to use. There's another way. There's another way to actually get additional cards. I'll explain that in a while later. But essentially, this is how you plant cards. Now, I did mention that there is another kind of card called play. The knife card is such an example. Oh, I think I should place that back. Let me see if I can try to find it. Okay, you know what? It's okay. I got the insomnia here. The first word it would say is play. Now, essentially, I can play it on my turn. Again, on your turn. All right, not anyone else's turn. I play it on my turn. I put it down and I say, you know what? This causes insomnia to all the other players except me. Just do what the description says. Now, in this case, it says all opposing characters in the game must increase their rest dial values by 1, which is this card. So if another player actually plays this card, I have to turn my dial up by 1. All right, there you go. So I'm gonna put this aside. That has not happened. Yada yada yada. Now, whew, this is quite exhausting, but there's still a lot more to go. So, what's next? Remember that I said that you only have 3 cards to contend with, right? Now, how do you actually get more cards to use? There's actually one way to do it. Then again, I think it's the only way that I know that it's how it's done. Essentially, you need to get to the cash tokens that you actually place throughout the board. Remember, there are a total of 5 cash tokens. Those locations, all right, think of them as like the lockers, the swimming pool lockers that everyone puts their stuff in. For some reason, all the assassins, professional assassins, have actually placed all their stashes in the very same lockers all over the place. All right, there's 5 locations. They went to all the 5 locations to put their briefcases of like sniper rifles and grenades and stuff like that. They put it all there with you. All right, and you can actually go over there, take away, retrieve your token, retrieve your briefcase token, and draw 2 cards from the deck. This is the purpose of the cash tokens. But here's the thing. If you actually come over here, it is a dark location, which means that if another player is over here, and if you are their target, they could kill you, like that. So it is both a risk and a reward. I mean, what do you do? Because once you actually go over here and you decide to take it, you can essentially end your turn. So I could actually start from here and take 1, 2. If I take this cash token, even though I have 2 more action points, I end my turn. That is essentially how it is. So that is how you can get more cards. So since there are actually a total of 5 cash tokens for each player, that means in the game you can potentially get 10 cards within the game. Right, so let's see, and fourth we have disable. Disable is a method where you can actually disable, remove a remote bomb or security camera from the game. Now in this game itself, there are many kinds of planned cards, but there are actually 2 kinds of planned cards, which is called the security camera and the remote bomb, like so. Let me put it this way. The security camera itself, once you actually place it in a location, right, and once it becomes functional, it becomes a public spot. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me try to see if I can break it down for you. Now, in real life, the security camera is pretty much neutral, right? It sees everyone through its lens without any prejudice or whatsoever, and what it sees is what it gets. So if I actually have a security camera over here, I can actually activate it. Now, does this make sense to you? It may not. So let me give you a bit of a situation here for you to understand. Let's say, where's the token? Yeah, good. Let's say I am over here. All right, I actually put down a security camera token down, which is number 1. All the other players didn't know. They have to guess as to like what that could be. I mean, it could be anything, right? But let's say Petrelli's target is actually me. He actually gets over here. He tries to kill me. All right, he actually meets the location, the condition of like first is actually a dark area, and second he could actually play a card, a weapon card. The knife, remember that's the knife, or in this case a garrote, right? A piano wire. He can just play this, and then say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna kill you, despite the fact that there's no icon to actually kill me in close quarters. He can actually kill me with a garrote, just like that. But I could say, that, wait, hang on, I'm going to activate my security, my security camera, which is when you actually flip the token over and also reveal the card that you have on your character card, and you tell them that this is a security camera. Then this black spot essentially becomes a white spot, and because now that this guy, this Petrelli, has been caught in the act, he has been exposed, and he becomes a free target for all. Now remember, if you recall, I actually did mention that you can only kill your target, but there's another method of actually killing another target. If you don't recall that, it's totally fine, but just understand that if you have been exposed of your wrongdoing, if you have been caught in the act of actually trying to kill someone, right, you become exposed. And that means anyone can kill you. Anyone can kill Petrelli in this situation. So that means until he dies, he's literally on anyone's target list. By killing him, you can get points. According to the point 8 card, the player 8 card for scoring, if you kill someone, you get 1 point. That is pretty much how you can actually kill someone else if they actually screw up. And this is also why the security camera is quite powerful. In the case of the oh geez, where did that card go? The remote bomb, right? You can actually activate it on your turn. Okay, again, it's not anyone else's turn, but on your turn, you can kill your target as well as the unprotected, the exposed player in this case for like points and stuff like that. Which is why it said only here can only trigger on your turn, cannot be used the same turn it was planted. There you go. But what happens if you actually turn this on and there are other players within the vicinity? Then if they are not your target and if they are not revealed, then they do not die. That's just essentially what it means. And I'm just going to put this aside. Whew. So far, I think so far so good. I think we're moving along just fine. Now, I suppose in terms of like all the 5 steps, this is the last one. It's called observe. Observe uses 1 action point, and what it does is that you can literally go to a spot. Let's say Petrelli comes over here and he wants to figure out what could be under that token. He spends 1 action point to actually look at the number, right? So in this case it's 2. He looks at it. He only looks at it himself, and then he asks me to say, to show him what is number 2. So that's when I will actually pass that player, pass this card to the player to see in secret. He will like look at it and say, oh, it's a booby trap, but he won't tell anyone, or rather he may choose to tell anyone. It's actually up to him. And then he returns it back to me. I place it down. That remains like so. And then he can do whatever he wants with that piece of information. That is essentially what observe does. Let's see. Have I missed out anything? I'm gonna take a real quick look around here. No, I think I pretty much covered the 5 steps. There's a bit more to it about it, but I will go into that area just a bit later. Okay, now let's say you have used up all your action points, right? All your action points have been used, all 4 of them have been used, and blah 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 blah. Your turn ends. When your turn ends, you need to turn your dial up a notch. So that means your bowel movement goes up, your hunger goes up by 1, your rest goes up by 1. And here's the thing. These dials over here, when they actually do a complete circle and moves on to like 0, you take a hit. The more hits you take, the faster you are towards dying. And here's another thing that you need to take note of. I know there's a lot of things to keep track of, but just hang in there, all right? If you don't really understand what I have so far, or so far I'm boring you to death, just pause the game, go and have like a Starbucks or something, come back again, fast forward just a bit, and continue from there. Believe me, this video probably does you a lot more good than just reading through the manual. It probably saves you a lot more time. I hope it does. All right. So there's a bit of a confusion as to like how does this work in relation to being stabbed or being run over by a jet ski by a killer. Here's the thing: if someone manages to kill you, you die instantaneously. There is no taking hits. You literally die instantaneously. Whereas In this case, you can still take a few hits from these attributes, these weird sanitary problems that you may have, until you literally die from, like, I don't know, overexposure to, like, unable to bathe and stuff like that, or you couldn't eat throughout the entire journey, where you couldn't even have the decency to go to a 7-Eleven store and get yourself a couple of instant noodles. But so in other words, for Marionette, you can take at least 3 hits to go. That is essentially what it means. Here are the extra bits that you should take note of. First, at the end of your turn, you may or may not choose to move the security guards. The security guards itself do not move them by themselves. Instead, they're actually moved by the players. The players have the option of actually moving these security officers by default by 1. So if like at the end of my turn, I may choose to actually move the security guard object, or I can just keep the security guard right there. And what makes these security guards really special is that they literally turn any location into a public location. Think of them as a walking security camera or a walking white circle. If they move on to a black circle, that black circle becomes a white circle. It doesn't matter if it says it's a black circle, it just becomes a white circle. That means if you're gonna try to commit a murder in front of him, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna be exposed, and therefore the murder would be unsuccessful, and worse still, you become everyone's target. That's the power of the security guard. Let me put that right there. Now let's see what else. There is something else I need to tell you. Yeah, that's right. The shortcuts. Okay, now the blue shortcuts and the green shortcuts, they're okay. There's also a black shortcut that actually takes this particular corner. Let me just see if I can try to push this up a bit. This spot over here, yeah, my finger barely fits into the screen, into the frame. This token in here has this black dotted line, which unfortunately flushes with the tar colored road. But believe me, there is a black dotted line that connects this to here. Can you see it? It's my finger here, right there, right there. So this is like a super shortcut from one end of the one corner of the board to the other corner of the board itself. Okay, that's a two-way because there's no errors to it. So that's something that is very useful to the gameplay session, as I have experienced. And there's another thing. The pink colored shortcuts, right? These guys, these 2, these 3. There we go. Pop, pop, pop. They are shortcuts where you literally jump. Now here's the thing: when you perform a jump, right? You you do this, bop, bop. It takes 1 step, like all shortcuts do. But if you do this, you take 1 hit. You take 1 damage. So that means that if I actually, I was here. So let's say I'm here, I actually do this, I take 1 hit. Just like so. So sometimes if you really want to get to your opponent, it may be, and if you have health to spare, that is, you can take that hit. You can jump down real quick to try to clear the distance really quickly. Now, more tips to go. Remember that I mentioned to you that at the end of the turn, you have to turn your dial. These are needs dial by 1. Remember, right? Now, clearly, you can't just let them keep on going up until they actually deal you damage, right? So, if you manage to get your character across these icons, there's a icon of a bed, a rest icon, you got an eating icon, and you got a toilet icon. If you manage to pass those, right, you don't necessarily need to stay there. If you just walk over them, you essentially turn that value to 0. You just reset it completely. Let's say I just want to let me see if I can 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, bop, 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 bop. This, because I walked over this token, this icon, I effectively reset my rest counter right over here, rest counter right here, immediately to 0, just like that. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, pardon me for the sudden jump cut over there. My phone kind of ran out of memory at the last moment, so I took the opportunity to upload the previous recorded parts of the video onto my computer. And now there's a lot more space to work with. So, as I last mentioned about the movement of the player across these icons, these are rest icons, the toilet icon, as well as the eating icon, to actually help you reset your physical need dials. All right, so those are very, very useful. Now, of course, these are actually additional information that will be very helpful to you, as well as very important in playing the game. Now, next is what you need to know is the first turn immunity. In other words, on the first turn, on everyone's first turn, that is, you cannot be killed. Okay, so this will at least make it so that that the other player doesn't die so quickly. It gives them some time to at least enjoy it and stuff like that. So I suppose that's the rationale anyways. So first turn immunity is what it is. Let's see, then there is, I'm actually now referring to the manual just so I'm not missing anything. Okay, it's very important. Right, when you die, right, you are not out of the game, at least not completely. Essentially when you die, you go to the bulletin board itself. If there's any clue tokens that you have placed, you just literally just take them back, yours of course, and you wait for your next turn, and on your next turn you will be revived at any of the green spots, okay. Let's see, and of course, and then you just play normally as well. However, you will not be given 3 cards though. You will not. That's essentially how it is. Let's see. Yes. There are a total of 2 rounds to the entire game. So each round ends as soon as 3 deaths has occurred. So in other words, for the entire game with 2 sessions, with 2 rounds, that is, there will be a total of 6 kills. Once each round 3 kills have been achieved, then everyone tabulates their scores together, and whoever has the most points win. Let's see. Am I missing anything else? Yes, there's a few more things that you should want to take note of. Now remember when I mentioned that if you, as the first player, right, reaches your turn, right, you have the responsibility of actually moving this turn token to the next turn. Now if you actually move this token to the next turn, which actually passes the new round word, every player needs to take 1 question mark token with their face up and place it on the trait that corresponds to your target. Now that's where this 8 card comes into play. On one side of the 8 card, it tells you about how many points the movement does, but on the other side, it actually tells you the traits of the various characters. Now this is to help you avoid actually looking at your opponent's character card and trying to figure out what the trait is, because you're just literally giving yourself away as you're the killer, that you're actually gunning for them. So this card itself, the traits over here, will help you greatly. And this is also where that you need to actually take consideration of the other players and look to putting down which trait will actually benefit you the best. All right, because I mean, if let's say for example, if all the other players are actually male and you're the only female character over here, and one of the other players actually put down that they're actually gunning for you, then it's quite obvious that that character is one that you want to avoid at all cost, or at least get that character into trouble, right? So, am I missing something else? There is a few more things. Let me just put this aside again. Oh yes, almost forgot. If the round reaches here to the final turn, regardless or not that three kills has been achieved, this round ends. Now I know I said round, it can be very confusing because it actually say new round over here, but when I mentioned round, this particular definition, I meant that the 2 overall rounds that the game would take place. All right, so once this actually reaches over here, everyone has the last ditch effort to try to kill the target. If not, then the game ends. Let's move this right over here, like so. Now, I did mention about points, right? If you recall that, I did mention to you about the token points and stuff like that, and which is also why this card over here, this 8 card, actually shows you the various points that you get for actually, you know, doing stuff like killing a target and killing an unprotected character, which is the exposed character. You sabotage someone, you get another point, and etc. Now, if you notice, there's actually 2 conditions here. This actually gives you negative points. One is called wrong call out, and the other one is not meeting needs. This is a very interesting situation. Now, let me explain. In wrong call out, right? In wrong call out, you have the opportunity to actually go to. Oh wait, you know what? Let me try to explain that in a more detailed situation. There is a way to try to. Okay, let's say that you actually figured out who the person that is trying to kill you is. Okay, let's say that I figured out that Petrelli is actually trying to kill me, and in fact that he is, and that I'm avoiding him. But it can be rather difficult to try to catch him in the act. So the other method that I can actually do so is that I can actually move my character over to the security guard, right, and accuse Petrelli as my killer. And the accused, in which case the player actually playing as Petrelli, would need to tell me whether or not he or she is truly my killer. Which if he or she is indeed the killer, he or she must reveal the target card to prove the fact that he or she is indeed my killer. But if he or she is not the killer, then of course naturally that player will deny it, and this would actually backfire on me. This would actually make me exposed. It's like the situation of the boy that cries wolf. You know, no one believes in you anymore, and you become a walking target. So it's a double-edged sword. But if you manage to successfully call out the person correctly, right? They are essentially kind of like killed, but they're more like arrested. But you kind of kill them, right? And then you get a point for that, and they will have to wait for the next turn to actually come back into the game. That is essentially it. But of course, that would mean that they will also need to reset the target as well. But that is essentially what it is. They will need to take the target from the other stack, which is also another point of information that I need to explain as well. I hope I'm actually meeting the end of the video soon, because this combined combination of the video so far has already well exceeded an hour, which is a bit of a concern. And if you actually made it this far, I would like to congratulate you for your persistence. All right, now, and then there's also not meeting needs. That is referring to your physical needs, your bowel movement, your hunger, and your rest. If any one of that actually reaches a full mark and then goes to 0 on the next turn itself, if you didn't do anything about it, then you get a -1 point. So yeah, that's how you generally get the score, get the points. Now, what was it I wanted to say? Oh no, I kind of forgot that. That was very important. I believe it was. What was it? I could not remember. No, I could not remember. This is a problem. Great. I'm gonna be cheating by looking at the manual. Okay, there is another thing. I don't think it's the one that I want to talk to you about, but nonetheless, it's just as important, I suppose. assuming there are situations, assuming that you managed to get to some of the caches, some of the Suki caches, you actually collected it, you got some more additional cards, and you got some additional cards in your hand, right? So let's say that I want to put more, I want to plan more cards. You most certainly can in any of the available slots, which if you notice, there are only a total of 4 slots. If you actually use up all 4 slots, you won't be able to put on the 5th or 6th or 7th because there is no such thing. There's no beyond the 4th slot. Okay, so if I'm gonna put, let's say I'm gonna put a remote bomb right over here, and then the token, of course, like let's say that I'm over here because let's say that I'm actually over here, right? Let's say I did such a thing. Of course, I covered it as well. Now, if I'm gonna try to put another plant card here, that's not gonna be possible unless I actually place it in the same spot as that as one of the slots do. So in this case, let's say I'm gonna try to put a security camera. I can't put it here because it's not a security camera. It's not a security camera, and this is certainly not a security camera. But however, I can actually put it here. I most certainly can put it here. And remember, I did mention that your tokens 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 4 copies of each. That means I can actually take that token itself and put it somewhere else. But here's the thing, because it's a complete copy, right? Its effect is gonna be like a chain reaction. Let me give you a bit of a scenario. Let's suppose that this security card is not revealed. This one icon is actually right over there. I'm gonna try to see if I can get myself a 1 icon. No, that's a 4. Where's a 1? Give me a 1. Never mind. I'll just grab any random one. So let's say this is a 1. Let's just pretend that this is that token, alright? And then I'm gonna just put it right over here. Now, if I actually go, let's say this sort of comes over here, and I actually decide to actually activate the camera, and this is revealed. The number 1, of course. This entire stack is revealed as security camera. All right. That means anyone that has a 1 that is later on revealed is going to become. That means it's no longer a surprise. It's literally an open secret. Okay. So that means anyone is also automatically revealed, which makes this a bit of a problem. If you're going to be playing so much to the point that it actually does it like that, everything's going to be revealed as all as one shot. So this is something that you're going to need to take into consideration when you're going to be doing planting of cards and all that stuff. But from what I heard from the creator, planting is very, very useful. So just a bit of a really early hint, before you actually buy this game, be sure to actually plant along the cards. They will help you greatly, which probably explains why I died. Let's see, did I miss out anything else? Oh dear. Ah, yes, I remember what I wanted to say now. There we go. Each character has a power. I forgot to mention that. It's very important. This power itself is unique to every player. Every player has a unique special power that they can use within the game. In this situation, Marionette has the power that at the start of the game itself, she can draw 3 more hidden action cards than the rest. Essentially, it's just referring to these cards, the item cards. So I can draw the initial 3 cards, and then I can draw 3 more cards at the start of the game. So it's a very powerful skill. That means I will have 6 cards to use with. It gives me a lot more option. Or in the case of, let's say, Desira, right? Once per game, she may choose not to put any clue token on the bulletin board when required, but only once per game. Whenever she changes target, she can use this power again. So it's a very powerful skill. Let's see. But wait, there's more you still need to know. I know, there's a lot to learn. Bear with me. Alright, when you actually manage to successfully kill your target, let's say Petrelli's target is actually Sorel, and he manages to successfully kill her, right, and she's out of the game, that means that target card that he initially has us is no longer in effect. And he has the option actually going into the next stack. Remember that I told you that there is actually a second stack of characters that has been placed aside, and then it was like shuffle and then just placed aside. That's when he actually takes the top card to see what his next target is, and he just keeps on doing that until there is no more targets to go with, and that's also one of the conditions to why the game ends, or rather, like until the three characters, 3 kills has been met for that round. Now, and also according to the manual, which I'm actually reading over here, the game also ends. The game immediately ends when there is no more cards available for drawing from the hidden action deck. When this deck itself runs out of item cards, boom, the game ends. Everyone checks how much points they have or how well they did. All right. Am I missing anything else? There is one more option that says over here, that says that if a player achieves a score equal or higher than 5 points if it's a 5 to 6 player game, or 6 points if it's a 7 or more player game. So I suppose that once a player actually reaches that specific criteria, then the game ends. It actually says right here. Can you see it? Does it focus? It kind of. Let me tap the screen to see if I can help it. And no, it. Yes. There you go. See, 5 points, 6 points. See that? Yep, it's one of the conditions again. So, come, focus back. So, thank you. I'm just gonna end this off. If there happens to be any mistakes that I've done in the video itself, I will be sure to actually add a text, like a text body within certain parts of the video to actually give you the correct definition. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. So if you have any questions, if you have any need of specific explanation of anything that is being said, if you don't understand what the hell I'm talking about in certain videos or other parts, by all means, write it down in the comments for this video. I'll be more than happy to answer it to the best of my abilities. I'm pretty sure that the game creator would also be more than happy to actually answer your queries and stuff like that. So with that said, thank you very much for bearing this long journey with me, and I really hope that you enjoy Hitman Holiday, and just support this Kickstarter Kickstarter campaign. I believe that you have a lot of fun. All right. So with that said, thank you all again, and I'll see you guys next time.